All right, good evening, my good peoples. We're live Sunday night in the Counselor's Corner with your host, C2, the controversial counselor. Got a couple things, like always, like I've been saying, some things that might be on my mind. I might just go live and talk about it in the Counselor's Corner. Hold on. So, one of the things is, excuse me for a second. One of the things I definitely want to address, got to talk about this RKelly situation. Hi, Ebony, how you doing? Hope you had a lovely Sunday. Let's talk. We're going to talk about this Kell situation. Also, want to look at that. Want to talk about also this because there's a lot of questions keep coming up about the 100 envelope challenge. So I want to address that as well. And people, I guess, need further clarification as far as that. So one of the things, basically what it is, you get 100 envelopes. You label them 1 through 100, each one, 1, 2, till you get 100. You get a bag or a box, and you shake it up. You break the cards up, you shake them up, and you draw, you pull one. So for me, the first one I had pulled was $61. So at the time, I think I had like $46 on me. I put it in an envelope. Then later on in the week, when I just had $15, I put a couple of dollars in, and then eventually I ended up with 61. Sealed it. That's put away. Can't spend it. Can't touch it. The next drawing, because once you fill it up, that's when you go on to the next one. So the next drawing I had was 33. So I haven't put anything in that one yet. So I'm gonna be working on that. I'm gonna be working on that this week. Fill that, and then probably at the end of the week, gonna pull another one. I gotta get better with these headset things. This stuff is annoying. So I'm gonna do that. So you keep on doing it. What's going on, Arthur? How you feeling? Uh, so you keep on and filling them as you fill them up. So eventually you want to fill up all 100 envelopes, and by the time you fill them up, you end up with like $5,050. So I can't. It's all based on each individual's your finances. So some people may pull a couple envelopes a week, fill them up, stuff them, and get them out of the way. Where some people may take a while to get them done. But the ultimate goal is that's money you're not going to touch, because if it's in your bank and you use your debit card, you end up spending that money and won't even know where it's at. But if you have a set goal in mind to know, like, all right, by the end of this week, I need to put the $33 in there, then you know that's going to be $33 saved. So that's where I'm at. Then once I fill up the 33, I'm going to shake up the bag and pull another one. So you keep doing that until you eventually have all of the 100 envelopes filled, and then the end result would be, like I said, $5,050. So that's that. If you have more questions, trying to get that out of the way. All right, Marquella Mingo, thanks for joining me in the Counselor's Corner. What's going on, fam? Bridget, thanks for joining me in the Counselor's Corner tonight. And I was talking about the 100 envelope challenge, but also we're going to talk about the RKelly situation that's been around the clock on around the clock on Lifetime. So, it's been a lot of dialogue going back and forth. I've made some posts. People came at my throat, and now I just want to go live and kind of talk about it. So, before we get into that, how about those football games this weekend? Big fun. One of my favorite times of the year. It's nothing better than football than when boxing's on, but there was no boxing matches this weekend, so you can't. So that was kind of downer, but it was some great games. Might have to take off my hat. And everybody know my hat is my trademark, but it seems like this is going to have to come off because I can't keep these ear things on. And let me keep this phone steady. All right. So, back to business. I don't know if I give you a shout out. What's up, Arthur Miller? How you feeling, man? Hope you everything is well with you. Maine. This RKelly thing. Trust and believe that I know it's a very sensitive subject. Very sensitive. What's going on, Adrian? Thanks for joining me in the Counselor's Corner. And I haven't looked at the whole show or series throughout. I kind of been seeing bits and pieces of it. And trust and believe, I understand the pain. Because I've been a victim myself from a male's perspective. Now, it's been a lot of dialogue. One of the things I posted, I said something to the effect of kind of like Lifetime needed to increase their viewership amongst African American households, so they found the controversial topic and they used RKelly. Well, these people went in and they thought I was just being dismissive of that. But it's, like I said, it's more than a black and white issue. It's a lot of gray areas. So it's so much to attack in this situation. And I've talked to numerous people about the situation, and one of the things is, trust me, I've been working with children, kids, students, clients since I graduated from undergrad. So you're talking about, I graduated in 1993, and pretty much all my jobs been in that area. I first came out, I was a social worker, dealt with kids that ran away. So trust me, my heart is definitely, I'm for kids all the way, no question about it. And just the thought of, and being a victim myself, I already know the pain and the anguish and the things that you go through. So I seen that everybody else was attacking that approach, so I just wanted to, I had questions on why Lifetime, was doing this, and it seemed like they was doing it like around the clock. Like, I want to actually watch Lifetime movies because it gives me like scenario material or post material when I talk about like relationship stuff. So I just want to clarify that I don't have no tolerance for no child being abused, bullied, or anything. That's not what I'm not for that. So even with this RKelly stuff, I'm just, we knew about it with the Aaliyah stuff and him supposedly peeing on stuff. But I guess for me, what always worked for me is I can't get tied up on that stuff on a day-to-day basis. But now it's it's more, it's right there because they're putting the information out there. But none of this shocks me that this grown man was with these women because, like I said, and like when I had conversation with numerous other people, that this stuff been around. It's been around, man. Like we seen it. We seen this movie before. We seen it maybe in a different version, maybe with someone that not a global icon like the music genius Robert Kelly, but just local dope dealers, older men that like younger women, and they had good jobs and they were able to pull them. So most of us are connected, uh, connected with uh, these stories, and I guess because we get more emotional when it seems to be with someone with the status of Robert Kelly. And to me, hurt is hurt, pain is pain. So it doesn't matter who's doing it. But a lot of times we turn our heads when it's just somebody in our family, or it's like I said, a local individual. You kind of brush it off. And know what we always say? Well, that ain't my business. That's not my business. But all of a sudden, now it's a heightened awareness that people are ultra sensitive about it. But again, we've seen this movie. This movie's probably been, and I'm not justifying it at all, because again, I was a victim of it. And then later on I came out with a post, and I kind of said, I know for a fact that growing up, there was a lot of grown women grinding and rubbing and I forgot what the other word I used, but with little boys, taking advantage of them. And for whatever reason, I think boys, again, somebody had mentioned it. Oh, let me give a shout out to people. Hey, Patricia, thanks for joining me in the Counselor's Corner. What's going on, Natasha? Thanks for joining me in the Counselor's Corner. For whatever reason, boys, it's kind of swept under the rug when it comes to stuff like that. And without me calling out any names, if they're watching, they probably like, oh, don't go there. But I've known, growing up, some of my friends might have been not fooling around, but in those type of situations with grown women. And they used to like, oh man, you don't know what you're missing or whatever. You should come around my way. And I'm like, no, like for real, like that's somebody's mother. And it was disgusting, but they kind of looked at it as like it was putting hair on their chest. So, but they were being abused. So, with that being said, it may look different, but my own isolated situation, I was fully taken advantage of. I was lured in someone's basement. One of the neighborhood kids who was probably like 10 years older than me, I want to say. If I was 8 or 9, he might have been 18, at least 17. That's pedophilia behavior. And I kind of went through life myself, kind of confused, stumbled, a little angry. But when I tried to tell people, and granted it was my younger siblings and like neighborhood friends, and they it seemed like it came out as a laughing matter. I don't even know how much in depth I got into it, but I kind of always kept busy with schoolwork, trying to be the best student I could, because I knew I could control those situations, playing sports, and kind of try to block it out. A lot of times, the times that it bothered me the most is kind of at nighttime, when you go to bed and you just can't go to sleep, and I think I did a lot of crying at night. No one really knew. I got a lot of people coming in. Shout out to Sherry. What's going on? Who else? Latoya Nicole, Muriel Brooks. If I missed you, hold on. Let me see. Jessica. What's going on? Chester TT. Derek Hall. What's going on, fam? Sharita. Thanks for joining me in the Counselor's Corner. So, right now I'm just pretty much talking about Uh, so going to touch on the RKelly situation, but I'm trying to talk about my personal experience toward being a male that kind of went through that. So again, I kind of stayed busy a lot of times. My emotions was at nighttime because I was always so busy trying to be a kid and stay busy that I didn't think about it during the daytime. It was only at night. But then, certain situations as you get older, start manifesting. For a certain period, I started getting into like fights, like my junior year in college. I think I had like 3 fights, and my mother was like, what is going on with you? At each of the situations, I felt like somebody was trying to take advantage of me and saying the wrong things. And I said to myself, no one will ever take advantage of me or threaten me or what, or they're gonna feel the wrath. What's going on, Dietrich, Muhammad, Dios? So that's what happened. I got into 3 fights. Now, we were little rough, badass kids on North Avenue. I always kind of document about North Avenue, the street I grew up on, and we got into a lot of stuff. And we got into, trust me, you had to know how to fight, because we were wrestling, had boxing gloves, we were doing all that stuff, kind of year round. But in school, I was quiet, and I was a good student, and I kind of kept to myself and did what I needed to do in school. So, what else is what's going on, Reverend Charles Searcy? How you doing, brother? So with that being said, I kind of got through it. But then my junior year in college, I had 3 fights. Then finally one day, I told my mother what happened, and I broke down. And she got emotional. I got emotional, and she was like, why didn't you tell anybody? But I was kind of protecting my family members so that they wouldn't get themselves in trouble. People such as, if I'd have told my father, of course, he would have probably tried to kill him. What's going on, Herbert? Antoine Fisher sounds similar to his story. It's a lot, it's a lot of parallels to that. But I never told him. Didn't want to tell my grandmother. I mean, that was my rock, because I know, shit, she didn't play with nobody. She did not play. That was the one person I thought was the toughest person in the world. And so I didn't want to. I wanted to save them, and I just felt like I'll be fine. But I finally felt the need to share that with my mother, and she had no idea. She working hard, trying to raise a single mom, raising four kids with the help of her, siblings and my grandparents, and we got through. And I just felt like I didn't want to bring that horrific experience to the family dynamics. We could survive it, and I could survive it. And then once I graduated, went on. I've had jobs working with emotionally disturbed individuals, and I can remember one situation, Muriel, I didn't tell till I was 34 years old. And see, a lot of times we keep this pain inside. And I can remember working at this place, Baker Hall, and I was riding with this boy, this young man, and he was like, Mr. David, I know somebody that can beat you. And I'm messing with him like, oh, there's nobody can beat me. And he was like, no, I do know. And then he was like, you don't know who it is? And I'm like, no, who is it? Then he was like, the man. And I'm like, what man? And then he was like, the man who did the reason why I'm in this home. And I'm like, okay, so who's the man? He's like, well, the man that abused me, which led me to, that's why I'm here, because then I guess he abused his siblings. And I wanted, and I think I had to take him to an appointment. So I really felt like pulling over, like crying, like, wow, like, dude, don't. And I had to tell him, don't glorify that person's not a good person. He's not good. He's not tough. But it was to him, he almost looked at it as, because this person controlled him, now he took over and had control over his siblings. And like we say, hurt people like to hurt people. So I just felt so bad for him in that situation. And mind you, these situations is tough. It's tough, and my heart goes out to these ladies. Even listen to some of the commentary that they're saying. So no way, shape, or form do I think anything that RKelly is doing. And I know he went through some abuse, and I often ask myself, like, what do we do about situations like this when we know it's so rampant and we've seen this stuff over and over and we hide it, we sweep it under the rug, we don't want to tell because we know it's going to impact our family drastically and we don't say anything. But then nowadays with technology and social media, we go on here and we blasting off, but we can't do that on a regular basis. And like I said to some young lady, like, man, I've had interviews about this. I've came on and talked about my situation, and I was like, you get nothing. Nothing. But it's almost like you have to be a mega star or something for people to say, oh, wow, I didn't know that happened to Tyler Perry or something like that. But it's people every day that you work with, that you go to church with, that you attend school with, that go through this situation. And we're not that supportive. So sometimes I question people's level of genuineness on social media when it comes to these topics, because I know they've seen this stuff before, but no one says anything. What's going on, Brother Herb, E. McCracken, Joe Shanahan? Thanks for joining me in the Counselor's Corner. I might have to come out this hat. Excuse me, because this ain't... All right. You know, and my hat is one of the things probably that I keep on, because even though my birthmark is unique and different, but I always got into the hat thing, and I always felt more comfortable. It's like a safety blanket for me to have on my hat. Although that, you know, I don't wear a hat around work and all that, but like when I'm at home or out and about on the weekends, I'm always rocking some type of hat, and that's just been my security as far as my birthmark. So again, with this R. Kelly situation, man, you know, it's so many things that's wrong with this whole thing. So many things that parents would, if they knew about it, would let their child go be with some man. And I don't give a damn who it is, and you're 12, 13, 14. No, I need some damn permission slips. I need to go by there. How long you gonna be there? Or, okay, can your mother, your father, do they got a waiting room or something like that? We have to stop trusting people who we think are ultimately that the kids may look up to, but we think mean kids well. Just like with boys in sports. You know, you have these travel teams and you go and the kids are away at hotel rooms, and if the parents, because not every parent can afford to, you know, take off and travel. They may be able to send their kid there, but they can't afford to, you know, travel or pay hotel fees and different things like that. And we leave our kids at vulnerable positions. And a lot of that was based on probably, especially in the black community, we hope and we dream and we pray that some way we can get out of that situation. Then you have someone, a musical genius like Robert Kelly, who tells your child that they could be the next big thing. And some parents kind of kind of get a little lenient, like, okay, and they're trusting because they're living their world through their child, because they wasn't able to make their life better, a situation better. And then we end up with situations like this. So we there's so many people to blame as far as this. And his staff, they're getting on there talking real good. Well, Robert did this, Robert did that. But if your ass knew he was doing it, you should have said something. Because no one that I work with, or whatever the case is, that would be like comparison. Who else came in? What's going on? Terry, Alicia, thanks for joining me in the counselor's corner. That would be like me being cool with a teacher, and he tells me, yo, Mr. Glover, when the reason why she always come into my class when I have a planning period, I'll be tapping that, or whatever the case is. What? Don't tell me that information, because that's not going to be on me. I'm going to have to tell somebody. And, I'm going to have to tell that person, you need to correct yourself. But if you already told me that the action was going down, call it what you want, snitching or whatever, you got to, I'm got to tell. And I think that's was frustrating about watching this, because you have people that, oh yeah, the videotapes. He told me about the videotapes, and Robert would come to me and tell me, like, man, I'm gonna get myself in trouble because of these videotapes. And your ass ain't saying nothing. Why the hell you in front of a camera talking now? Should be locked up yourself right now. So it's a lot of stuff went wrong with this whole thing, and it ain't just Robert that should be doing some time. It's parents, it's staff, and whoever else knew about it. So I think we have to look at all the variables before we just start posting and trying to uh, focus on one person. Who else joined? What's going on, brother Hakim, Angel Palmer? How you doing? What's going on, Big Courtney? So we have to look at that, and like my brother Dietrich has said, that just the title of that, Surviving R. Kelly, what does that really say? What message is putting out there? And y'all may think because of the deplorable acts that he is a savage, beast-like, or whatever the case is. You could have came up with another title, Surviving. Like, it could have been a whole nother title. So that's not a good look for uh, for black men, period. And sometimes we all get categorized based on one person, and somebody at the status that he is, it would be easy to lump us all in together. So I'm not feeling that title. People, feel free to chime in with your commentary on here. Now, Tisha Petty, what's going on, Tish? I'm just, speaking on that, trying to bring the light to this situation, because it was based on some of the posts that I put out there, and people just coming for me. And they don't know, really don't know me. And, I'm not going to call out names, but listen, you don't know what I feel about this situation. You don't know what I've been through to get where I'm at, and to where I'm going. So again, we, like I read somebody post, and they mentioned, and I'm gonna give him a shout out, Ken Badger. He was thinking the same mindset that I had, like, yo, y'all not pissed off about your uncle doing this type of stuff, but then y'all are coming down on R. Kelly. We need to do a better job of governing what we can control, and get emotional over in-house stuff, family stuff that maybe we can rectify and change. Y'all don't know none of these damn people that was on this thing. Granted, yeah, there was black, a lot of black girls and there are women now, and they were coming out saying stuff. But a lot of you have those same people in your family that you look at and you know something's not right. You know something's not right. You know no grown ass man should be constantly tickling a little girl and sitting her on the lap and doing kissing her on the lips and doing stuff like that, but you let stuff like that go. But then you get all emotional and bent out of shape over this. Now, what's going on, Marcia? Um, Again, you're entitled to feel how you want to feel, but I just say we have to do a better job of tying emotions in with things that we can control. And I think we do a poor job of that. So I'm just looking for comments, anything, because I can go on and on about this situation. And let me just give you a couple, things that I wrote as far as my situation. I wrote this once. I felt a lot of anger towards these acts. When this person was doing this, all he thought about was his own selfish needs. Not once did he take into consideration that he was taking advantage of a child that was much younger than him. Nor was he considering the possibility of how he could be ruining some child's life behind his own personal gratification. It bothered me that someone was trying to control me mentally and physically. Okay, Dietrich said, they have been airing this program all day. Why? What is the motive of Lifetime? Well, some people have responded and said that they plan to do, talk about sex trafficking and different things like that. But I think it's bigger than that. I think they're trying to rope people in, and they're trying to build up their numbers, their viewership, to keep black folks tuned in on Lifetime. Because let's grant it. And somebody tried to come at me like, oh, they do have shows. Yeah, they had 2 or 3 shows, but most of their shows look alike. Actually, and they had the same profile. And that became like a joke of me and people that's associated with me. We can look at some person and say, man, he look like a Lifetime killer. Or, we came up with, different things like that. Or, man, that looked like a Lifetime situation where, the stalkers or the babysitters and different things like that end up killing. So, you know the drill. And a lot of times, black people just don't get caught up in that. I look at it and I watch a lot of the movies, and I've been doing it. I'm one who used to watch the stories on a regular basis. So I get caught, I watch stuff like that. Um, so their motives, I think, is money driven, and that may be the purpose for it. I don't think they're really trying to educate or anything. Their focus to me is trying to viewership and try to get black and African Americans roped in, and they do that. RKelly is a polarizing figure, so they'll take his story. Now, also today, strolling down social media, you see somebody post something about Little Kim saying, "Oh, Jay-Z, he was 27 and he slept with her when she was 15." So it's gonna be more stuff like this coming out, and to the point that sometimes you're like, man, it's gonna be overwhelming, because, like I said, we've seen this story before. This story happens quite often. Hey, this story might have been in the Bible and everything else, whatever. So I think we need to do a better job of trying to control our emotions and try to handle things that we can control, and work with people that we can actually get to and maybe change their course or the direction they're going into. Dietrich said, who watched this station? Do they see all black men as Kellys to their little white girls? Man, yeah, I don't know. But I could tell you, I like to share and self-disclose some of my personal situations. I could tell you before that I end up when I was a social worker, and the program was a runaway program social worker. So kids would run away. I had this white client, this young girl, she like 13, 14. And she, what they called it was when they ran away, we had to set them up at like a host family, kind of like a little shelter. Kids, parents would take them in and they would allow them to stay there. It was just temporary, like 3 or 4 days till we could place them somewhere else, maybe with another family member, maybe a group home or something like that. So the girl ran away. I would have to pick her up from the host home, take her to school, pick her up from school. Well, when the father found out it was a young black man, and at the time I was about 23, riding around with his 14-year-old daughter, oh no, he was calling the agency every day, going off, threatening to sue them. Like, y'all have my daughter riding around with the and actually, he called one day, and I answered the phone. And he called for me, and he was going off. And at the time, like I'm like my first job after college, I kind of took it all in. Then I went back to my supervisor, and she was like she was gonna call him, and she was a white woman, and she was like she was gonna call him. Don't ever let anybody talk to me like that. And she was real with me, and she was like, if his ass had his stuff in order, you wouldn't be transporting her. So, needless to say, when it came up to my because I guess he was calling the agency asking how many black staff work, the percentages, and different things like that, and they didn't want that smoke, the agency. So, when it came up to my 6-month probation period, they let me go. Now, mind you, I was at work all the time, never missed work, had my reports handed in, dressed nice, looked professional, and they let me go. Because they looked at it as, man, a black man riding around with a white girl. So this stuff is deep, and people have different emotions toward it. And just because people may not say anything, that doesn't mean that it's not happening or they don't have certain feelings toward it. Kia B, how you doing? Marcia said, my heart aches for all the girls and women who were victimized by RKelly. Yeah, my heart aches too for that, but also our hearts should ache for people that we know that's going through it. Like I said, we've seen this movie before, and we know that it's happening, and we've known, you know, guys that's 24, 25 dealing with girls that's 15, 16, but our approach is, uh, that's not my business. And during those times, our heart should be aching as well. But it never does. It seems like no one says anything. They just keep it moving. And on another level, and that's what I say about this social media thing that's so frustrating. We have blacks getting, killed by cops, black on black crime, different things like that. Let it be someone who's getting a lot of viewings or the media is heightening up the situation. We so damn emotional. But when somebody down the street, family member, we don't know nothing. We don't see nothing because we don't want nobody to retaliate. But if you're so hurt and so disturbed by it, you so Christian, and you feel like God is your protector and you'll be all right, your ass will say something. But we don't. So what are we gonna do, people? What are we gonna do? We're gonna keep faking jacks for social media and superstars, or we're gonna look at our own families and our own communities and try to reach out and help more. What is it gonna be? And when I mentioned the thing about stuff happening with boys, there was commentary like, "Oh man, oh he just wants us to shut up, whatever. If you don't talk about his situation, well, they didn't know my situation, but if it's happening to boys, then they need to say something. Like I said again, I've spoken on it. And I'm not looking for no charity or anything, but just understand people have a different plight on how they get to where they're going. And you, KYP, know your personnel before you start making judgments or making comments on something that you don't know. You don't know the path that certain people travel to get where they're going. And I don't never you try to make stuff personal. I just put out general stuff just for dialogue because I know it's going to open up emotions. And I think right now, like I tell anybody, that's what cocktail conversations is about. Drawing out emotions that we can talk about these topics and try to rectify our family unit because again, there's layers to this. Family is where it all started. You got dysfunctions in your family, you're probably going to be a dysfunctional worker, a dysfunctional student. So we got to handle in-house situations. Then you start looking at your neighborhood and then community. And then that's when you start looking at the country and society. But if we don't start looking at what's going on in our families, all of this shit is for nothing. So I don't care how many movies Lifetime put on or whatever the case is. Nothing won't change. Nothing will change until we start correcting what's going on in our own households. Believe that. So even if you ignore what's going on in your family stuff, but you go to church and you hear that stuff, oh, this doesn't mean anything unless you're going to make some actions happen. I'm irritated right now, as you can tell in the elevation of my voice. Usually I try to be calm and chill, but I'm annoyed because I think this stuff went about the wrong way, and the emotions that's brought out, I don't see those emotions on a day-to-day basis with other stuff. We don't support each other worth shit. Excuse my language. We don't. So Lifetime, they're winning. They got a lot of y'all emotional and y'all locked in and y'all keep watching this shit over and over and over and over. And money, 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 money for them. For them. But you same people, like I said, don't handle stuff in-house or in communities or do any of that stuff. So for people to think, oh, I'm trying to sweep it under the rug. Nah, buddy. I work in the grind, like I said. Been doing this for like 25 years, working with kids. I don't do this because I get paid a lot of money. It's because I understand pain that I went through and I overcame it. So I only hope to be able to be that beacon of light for other young people so that they can know that anything is possible. And some of the students that I get really close to me and come see me on a frequent basis. I self-disclose some things. I don't tell them everything, but they might kind of know, like, yeah, Mr. Glover said this, and, you build those connections, and hopefully they go on and they make better decisions. So I'm in the trenches all day, every day. So understand that. Well, I'm not going to keep y'all for long. I just wanted to kind of just talk about the impact and what we need to do, because I know myself looking at that, yeah, it's stuff that I didn't like to hear. I'm gonna say one part where they were saying, I think it was Sparkle or something. She said somebody's knocking at the door, and they're like, okay, who the hell is that knocking? And she and I guess it was his wife, and she wanted to know could she come down and make something. See, that stuff. I'm a sensitive dude, and I don't like stuff like that. Like, how the hell you have somebody locked up and they have to ask for something to eat? You don't do that. So stuff like that pisses me off. Pisses me off, really. And I don't care for stuff like that. Like I said, I don't care for people trying to control people like that and the bullying stuff. Nah. No kid comes to tell me, oh, they're getting bullied, and they tell me the situation, and I'm like, oh, this sounds legit, and I kind of know the other student. I'm going to get their ass right there. Like, you comfortable with talking to them? And they're like, yeah, or sometimes they may say no. If they say they're comfortable, oh, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. And I go get them out of class, and we sit there, and I tell them, this better not get back to me. Better not get back to me again. And most of them, they let it go. You're always going to have some knuckleheads that push the limit, but those certain things like that bothers me. So for you ladies out there who think I don't have any emotions toward that, yeah, I do. I have a lot of emotions towards that. That's something that I don't get down with. People trying to control other people or take advantage of, because I've been in that movie myself. I played a star role in that movie. And every day is a struggle, but you keep going with occupying your mind with positive things and doing positive things for people. And that's what gets you by. If I probably was working at a job in a plant on the assembly line, I probably would be after work drinking to oblivion and doing things like that. But I work with people and I help shape people's lives, so that's what keep me going. All right. I'm about to get off my soapbox now, and I'm about to sign out. Got a couple other things to do, but stay tuned. Like I said, this is the platform. This is what I'm gonna do if it's something bothering me. Oh, and another note before I go. I read that stuff in Niagara Falls what happened at Harry F. Abbott School, where the parents were fighting, and then they took it out. Somebody pulled out a hammer and started hitting the other parent's vehicle with a hammer. Then they rolled off. Where the one parent crashed into the other parent's vehicle. Then they rolled off and crashed into each other again, and the car flipped over. Excuse my language. What the hell is wrong with y'all? The hell is wrong with you? If you feel you got to come into a damn schoolhouse and our kids are already unstable and their minds is everywhere and they got so much influence, take that shit somewhere else. Don't bring it to no schoolhouse. Then you're going to go out there and jeopardize your lives and doing stuff, crashing into each other, cars flipping over. Something wrong with you. Like, seriously. Seriously. Now, your kid goes back to school without being ridiculed every day because their mothers is crazy as hell? Do better, act better, and be better. People, whatever. That's not the place. It's not the place to come up there as an adult fighting in the school. Take that somewhere else. Go to one of y'all backyards, duke it out, get a referee, and then when somebody can't move or they bloodied, whatever, somebody break it up. You don't do it at a school. You don't do it in no bar or when somebody else is trying to have a good time, whatever. Meet somewhere if y'all gonna do it and just do it and make it as peaceful as possible, because guaranteed it'll be a winner and somebody will fold up if the fight is fair. But school is not the place. Don't come in there with that crap. We have enough stuff to deal with on a day-to-day basis, and we don't need no damn parents coming in there being ignorant. That's some old that's some old only on TV that shit's supposed to happen. All right. I'm done now. Any other words? Chime in on the poster thread throughout. I'll share it other places, and I'll share it, and then we'll just keep moving forward. But again, ladies, my heart goes out to y'all precious parents. We have to do a better job of screening out people, coaches, talent evaluators, whether it's for modeling, mentors, all that stuff. We have to do a better job of figuring out who our children are around, and even far as letting them stay the night over people's house. Have to do a better job on figuring out where our kids are at. Can't control every situation with them, but we have to make a concerted effort to know that this person is solid or legit, because all it takes is one incident and it could change somebody's lifetime forever. And I mean forever. With that said, I'm out. Got any other questions? If you feel that stuff has been unanswered from my end, inbox me. No problem. We can do this again. Go back on and finish the conversation at another time. But again, I'm out. And everybody just, keep your head up. This year is just starting, 2019. We got a long way to go. Got to take one day at a time and keep grinding, keep supporting each other and be there for each other. We got to stop all this dissension between us. Don't make any sense. All right. I'm out. Peace. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye.